guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Carly and I'm so happy to have you all here. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a updated get ready with me everyday makeup routine. I do want to go ahead and throw this out there and say that this is definitely a full coverage type situation that I have going on here. Like, to be fair, this is the type of makeup that I do on myself on the daily if I'm putting makeup on. Like, if I'm taking the time to put makeup on, I'm going full force. Other than if it's like going to the gym or something, then that's another story. But I just have a lot of new products that I've been using the last couple months that I've really been loving, and I wanted to hop on here and just share them with you guys, especially because some of them are actually going to be available in the Sephora sale coming up. So I'm gonna do a whole nother video dedicated to just like my picks on that too. But as far as like the makeup products go, I'm gonna try and use some of them today. That way you can see how they apply and just like see how pretty they truly are, other than just sitting here and holding up a product and listening to me talk about it. So on that note, if you guys are interested in seeing how I got this makeup look, just keep watching. So first I'm gonna go in with my Tula primer. I've been using this the last couple months and trying it out, and I really like this. It's a gel consistency and it just helps my makeup stay on all day long. Not to mention, I just don't know what it is about it, but it has like this cooling effect. It feels so nice on your skin. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with another primer, and this is the Tatcha Silk Canvas. And basically what this is gonna do is just minimize the size of my pores. That first primer doesn't really do anything to blur my skin. It just like really grabs on to my makeup and makes my makeup stay all day long. This one is gonna smooth out my texture and my pores and all of that. And I really like this stuff. I've tried a lot of other like pore minimizing primers, and this one is just my absolute favorite. I have like a couple like stubborn large pores, like literally one on each side that's a little bit larger than the others, and I feel like it's hard to get that one filled in, and for some reason this stuff really gets the job done. And I kind of like massage it in, like I'll work it up, I'll work it down. Again, my pores are insane. They're ridiculously large, so I really have to like work this into my skin. So I originally wanted to use my Tarte Face Tape foundation, but I tanned last night and I was not expecting how dark I was gonna be, because girl, I'm dark right now. So this might have to be the winner, which this is like my favorite drugstore foundation. I don't know, this is like too dark I think, and then this is too light. I might just end up making a little foundation cocktail, if you will. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of my Fit Me foundation on here. In case you guys are interested, this is the Matte and Poreless. Again, this is my absolute favorite drugstore foundation. Every time I go and I try and use like any kind of even high-end foundation, I still always end up going back to the Fit Me, just because I feel like it just makes my skin really flawless, and I think it does just as good a job as any other high-end one that's 50 bucks. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put just a teeny little drop of the Face Tape, which this is like my go-to every single day. I discovered it a couple months ago. A girlfriend let me use hers and I absolutely loved it. It made my face look flawless. And it's a mid-range price point too, which is really nice, so it's not gonna break the bank. So I'm just working this into my skin now. In this lighting, it's gotta be my lights, because in the camera, this actually looks like it's a little too light for me, but in real life, in my mirrors, it's actually perfect. So we're gonna roll with it. So I'm gonna take the remaining product that's just like left on my beauty blender and just blend it down my neck just a little bit, just so you don't get any harsh makeup lines. Okay, so now that we have our base on and it is looking good, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my bronzer. We're gonna do a little contour slash bronze. And this is the Sonia Cashew Cream Bronzer, and it's in the shade Rich Bronze. And then I'm going to be using my Morphe M439 brush to apply it. You guys, this has very quickly become my everyday holy grail bronzer. just like when you're applying it, it applies like a dream. It's so natural looking and really boldable. So the first application that you put on, you could totally leave it if you wanted to do like a more natural vibe, or again, you can just keep adding it. It just blends out so pretty and it's really nice. I find myself wearing this on a lot of my like no makeup days as well. And again, it's just because it's such a natural looking finish that I love it. I'm obsessed. Now I'm gonna go on with my concealer. I know a lot of people do their concealer before they do their bronzer, but I just like to do it after, just because sometimes I can feel myself bringing my bronzer up a little too high. And then on top of it, I just like my under eye to be like super bright. Wowza, this color is coming off real cray on the camera. But I promise you, it is not this light in real life. But that's okay, even if it is, because again, I really like a bright under eye. We're gonna go in and bronze it up a little bit more after anyways, so it will be fine. I will say, I used to not really like Shape Tape that much. It's still not my absolute favorite. I do really like it. It is really pretty. But I think for some reason, I just need a little bit more of a moisturizing under eye concealer, because it starts to look a little bit dry on me. But I still do really like it, and I still use it. Obviously, I'm using it today. But again, sometimes the finish of it just is, for some reason, just a little bit drying. But it is like a cult favorite, and so many people love this concealer. So if you haven't tried it, I do recommend testing it out. I'm using this like little concealer brush just to get in like the little creases around my nose, because sometimes the Beauty Blender doesn't get into that area really well. Another little trick is when you're doing your under eye, make sure you're pressing super lightly and gentle with your Beauty Blender. If the harder you push, I've found the more product that it soaks up into your Beauty Blender. And I was getting so frustrated for a while with any under eye concealer that I was using, because I just felt like I wasn't getting that like full coverage look that I wanted. So I discovered that the lighter that I was pushing with my Beauty Blender and just really taking my time and working it in and not like really like pressing it hard into my skin, I definitely got that more like flawless full coverage look that I was looking for. Now I'm gonna go in and set my under eye with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Protecting Micro Powder. That's a mouthful. But this powder I've really been loving lately too. I've been using it for about 6 months now, and it has definitely become one of those products that I use every single day. And this is in the shade Fair. It's actually the lightest one you could get. I'm so tan right now. Again, I could definitely probably use the next shade up, which I'm almost positive is a medium. They have 3 different shades in the powder, but it's really nice. It's like super finely milled, and it makes my under eye look really flawless and just perfect. So I don't normally go in and like set the rest of my face with any kind of powder or anything, because I don't want to use too much powder, because I don't want to look too dry, especially because I'm going to be going in with powder products to do a little bit more bronzing, and then obviously my blush as well is going to be powder. So I'm gonna be going in with one of my MAC bronzers, and this is gonna be in the shade Give Me Sun. And then this is the brush I'm gonna be using, and it is the Hourglass Dual Ended Brush. And I'm gonna use the big fluffy side to just kind of go in over my cream bronzer and just add a little bit more warmth to my face. And again, like I said before, it's just kind of gonna set that cream. And then I don't add any other product to my brush, but I'll just kind of like lightly run it over my face. Now it's time for blush, so I'm going to go ahead and go in with my Morphe NW palette. I've had this palette for probably 1.5 years, if not longer, but it just has some really pretty shades in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix 2 of them. I'm going to do the Sweet and then Unapologetic. Let's see how that goes. Oh, this is really pretty. I kind of go a little crazy on my blush for a couple reasons. So the first reason is, number one, I have super dark features. So my makeup might look a little heavy right now, but once I get my eye makeup on, it's almost like my whole, like all of my work that I just did completely disappears. And it's like, do you even have makeup on anymore? Like, it's so strange. And then the second reason is because I just feel like blush is the thing that goes the quickest on your face. Like once you've been wearing your makeup for a significant amount of time, your blush just disappears.
For highlight, I'm going to be using this Maybelline Master Chrome, and it is in the shade Molten Gold. I've talked to you guys about this before. This for a drugstore highlighter is bomb. Like, I even reach for this over my high-end highlighters every single time. It's so pretty, and I'm someone, again, who has large pores and texture. It doesn't accentuate it, which is fabulous, because a lot of times a powder highlight, if you have any kind of texture or anything like that on your face, it's going to accentuate that, especially as you start to get a little bit older and your skin starts to age. So this one just looks beautiful all the time. I'm also going to add a little bit of this like right under my brow. I'm not doing this like super precisely or anything. I'm just kind of throwing it on there just to give it a little something underneath my arch. And then I'm gonna also put a little bit of it in the inner corner of my eye just to open up my eye a little bit. Now it's time to pop my brows on, and I'm gonna be using the e.l.f. pomade, and it's in the shade Espresso. And then I'm using an e.l.f. brush to apply it. This is a dual-ended brush, so you get the angled brush on one end, and then you get the spoolie to kind of brush it out on the other. Both of these products, I wanna say, were under like $2 or $3. The pomade I have had for probably 6 months to a year, and I feel like I have barely even like dipped into it. Now with a pomade, you have to be really careful because I feel like it's easy to mess up quickly, but I also feel like once you get the hang of it, which it's not hard, it's like the easiest way to apply your brows. So, okay, so I apply the wing of the brow first, and then I go in and kind of shape around your brow, or the shape that you want your brow to look like. I would suggest getting as close to the shape as your natural brow as possible. This is really easy to look harsh. Like this product can look harsh really quickly, so you want to make sure you're going heavier on the tail end and around the edge. I would say like halfway back. You could get a little heavier with it, a little heavier handed, and then when you're filling it in, a little heavier handed, especially for someone like me, because I do have such dark hair and dark features. But you want to be real careful once you start getting to the inner part of your brow. I would say to just dip it in the pomade just the one time. So do one dip for the tail, another dip to kind of sculpt out the top of your brow and the bottom of your brow, and then whatever you have left over for product, I would fill in, starting at the end and then moving forward, because you don't want to have a lot of product on the inside of your brow because it's gonna look thick and drawn in, and that is not a vibe, you guys. It's not the vibe. So I use this spoolie to only kind of brush through even just this front part, because if you feel like you didn't get a lot of product over there, that's fine. This will blend it in to the rest of your brow, and then I'll just kind of do one little swift little blend along the tail as well. So just, again, be light-handed, be careful, practice. If you guys are new to pomade or new to your brows with any product, just practice putting them on and you'll get better at it, I promise. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my Tarte in Bloom palette. This palette is beautiful, you guys. There's a lot of really good, just natural, neutral colors in here that you can use on an everyday type basis. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade Smarty Pants, and I'm gonna put that all over my lid. I'm not like priming my eye or anything, but I do have some foundation on there. Well, concealer, I guess. And I'm just putting this all over my lid, just as like the base color. So I'm just gonna pop this all over my lid. I do already have that highlight underneath my brow bone. So that's kind of why, I don't know why, but I always like to do that step first because I just feel like it looks a little bit more natural than doing it at the end, and it's less harsh, I mean, in my opinion. I'm gonna go in with Rebel, and that is the mauve-y little purpley shade towards the bottom, and I'm gonna put this more in my crease just to darken that up a little bit.
just a little bit. Again, I want this to look natural. I don't want a really heavy eyeshadow look today. Just something so that you can tell that I have something on, you know what I mean? Now I'm gonna take this smaller fluffy brush. It's the Morphe M506, back in with Smarty Pants. Tap the excess product off. Go in underneath my eye here, just to blend it in with the top right on your lash line. And just go ahead and blend that in all along your lash line. I don't go all the way in, just kind of like on the corner, about halfway. Just keep blending, keep blending, keep blending. When in doubt, blend it out, you know what I mean? Now I'm gonna go in with Rebel, that second color that we use, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing right on the lash line, focusing a little bit more just on the outer corner. Now I'm just gonna take my finger and go in with the shade Firecracker. It's a really pretty bronzy shade, like bronzy shimmer. So I'm just gonna pop that right on the lid. It's like my favorite color in the entire palette. It's really pretty. Now going in with my NYX liquid liner. I really like this because it has a pretty long brush on it. Makes it really easy to just kind of like gently draw your wing on. The way that you want to get the perfect wing is kind of start here and go up towards the bottom of your eyelash. Like that's the angle that you want. Do a little wing. I always do the wing first on each side. Okay, and then I go back in and just trace along my lash line. And then I connect the wing line to the rest. So I kind of start like halfway in the line and just kind of swoop it over to connect it. So now that my face makeup is done, the only thing I have to do now is just do my mascara. So at this point, I like to go in with a setting spray just because I have a hooded eye. So sometimes after, if I did my mascara first and then set my face, it would create a transfer because it's wet. So sometimes I would get that like on the lid of my eye, or even I would spray my face and then I would sneeze or something crazy and I would get it underneath too. And it's really hard to get off because it's wet from setting spray, so it's supposed to stick. So this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, and I love this stuff, especially if I know that I need my makeup to last a long time. This is perfect. So go ahead and spray my face. Let that dry. For lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and prime them first. This is a new product that I've been using the last couple months and I've really been liking it. It makes my lashes nice and curled, adds length and thickness, and it's just a really good primer. I never was really into primers before. I would just pile on like multiple layers of mascara, but sometimes it just starts to look too goopy for me and my lashes would stick together. So I like that with this, it gives me, you know, the volume and length that I want to create, but it also keeps my lashes nice and separated. So I normally do about like 2 coats of this, and I do one eye at a time. You just want to make sure that before you apply your mascara that this stuff is dry. Well, actually you don't want it dry, you don't want it wet, and you don't want it dry. You want it kind of just tacky so that your mascara bonds to it nicely. So after you're done with both of your coats, I would wait about like 30 to 40 seconds before you go in with your mascara. And I always concentrate a little extra product on the outer lashes because you always want those to just be a little bit longer. So while I'm waiting for the primer to dry, I'm gonna go in and do my bottom lashes. I always use this Essence mascara because it has a smaller wand and I have really long eyelashes on the bottom. So if I use any bigger kind of wand, it gets all over the place. And this is the Dramatic Volume Unlimited. And again, it's by Essence. I love their mascaras. They're very inexpensive, but they're really nice quality. Okay, I think that's enough time for the primer to dry. I'm also going to use an Essence mascara for my top lashes as well. This is the Curl and Hold. I really like this mascara. Again, I really like all of Essence mascaras. I think they're great quality for the price. They're like $4.99. Now I'm going in for my second coat and I'm going to use the smaller wand that I used on my bottom lash just because that mascara that I just used, the pink one, for my first coat was actually running out. So I'm going to use this for the second coat. So another little mascara trick is when you're putting it on, make sure you put it on like the top of your lash as well. So you kind of want to do that at the end because if you do it in the middle when you're going to do a second coat, it'll transfer because it'll be wet, and when you're like pushing your eyelash up, it might transfer onto your brow. So do that last. Like after you do 2 coats, the last thing you want to do is, you know, go over it like this from the top. Does that make sense? You go down on the top of your lash. So up this way and then down. So a second mascara tip is going to be, if you do have any kind of transfer, which I always do, it's inevitable. Again, I have a really hooded eye, even sometimes underneath because my lashes are super, super long. You have to wait for your mascara to completely dry. Like it cannot be wet at all. And then go in with a Q-tip and it comes completely off so easily. So for my lip liner, I'm going to use this Milani pencil. It's in the shade 160 Cafe au Lait. I do not know how to pronounce that, you guys, but it's 160 if that helps. I'll link it down below just in case. I like this lip liner because it's really close to the natural color of my lip, so I love it for like everyday wear. So I'm gonna overline my lips a little bit, but the trick to this is you have to be really careful because you can get carried away, but you just wanna do it in like the center of your lip. You wanna make sure that you're only overlining basically like in the center. So just at the Cupid's bow. And then also just like right underneath here, just to give you that like pouty look. So now I'm connecting it back to my natural lip line. Now same on the bottom. So for my actual lip color, I'm going to be using the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream, and this is in the shade London. These are really nice because they feel really light on your lip. They're not heavy like a normal like matte lipstick would be. They go on almost like moussey and then they dry matte. I'm gonna pop that in the middle. It's a really pretty color. It's such a good everyday color. Okay guys,
guys, so that completes today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this makeup tutorial / get ready with me. And as usual, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.